All of you, if you're a kid, put your hand up. In the back, I see you. Put your hand, there we go. Perfect. All right. So who remembers what we talked about last week? Last week, anybody remember? There was a man, he had a donkey, it started behaving very strangely. That's right. We were talking about Balaam. Balaam, who was a prophet, and was asked by Balak, the king of Moab, to come and curse the children of Israel as they were in the desert on their way, waiting to go into the promised land. So, Balaam wasn't supposed to go, and then God said, you can go, but you will bless them, not curse them, and then he had the whole incident with the donkey, and now we're going to see what happened. So, when Balak heard that Balaam was arrived, he went out and met him in the city of Moab. And Balak said to Balaam, didn't I ask you to come sooner? Why did you come so late? Can't I promote you with great honor? And Balaam said to Balak, look, I'm here now. Do I have any power to say anything at all? All I can say is whatever God puts in my mouth. So he's warning Balak. He says, I don't have to talk, but whatever I talk, it'll be what God says. And Balaam went with Balak, and they got ready to curse the Israelites. So Balaam told Balak to build him 7 altars, and they offered 7 cows. And then Balaam prophesied. And he said, Balak said, come, curse Jacob, and come defy Israel. But I say, how can I curse those that God has not cursed? And how shall I defy those that the Lord has not defied? I see him from the top of the rocks, and from the hills I see the people that cannot be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the 4th part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like that of Israel. Not cursing. And Balak said to Balaam, what have you done to me? I called you to curse my enemies, and here you're blessing them instead. And Balaam said, I told you, I can only say what God tells me to say. And Balak said, well, maybe if I bring you to another place to look at them, you can curse them from there. Balak is not really getting it, is he? Right? It's kind of slow. So, and he says it again. Well, he says a lot of things. He blesses them. But the one thing I wanted to mention, Balaam finally, as he's wrapping up his prophecy, says a couple things. He says, how beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, and your tabernacles, O Israel. God has brought Israel out of Egypt. He has the strength of unicorns. He shall eat up the nations, his enemies, and shall break their bones and pierce them through with his arrows. Not a curse, but a blessing. And the last thing he says, then he has a vision. And we read this right before Christmas. So, see if you can guess why. He said, Balaam, the son of Beor, has said, and the man whose eyes are open has spoken. He has spoken, the one who heard the words of God and has known the knowledge of the Most High. He saw the vision of the Almighty. He fell into a trance, but had his eyes open. He says, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but he is not near. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. Out of Jacob shall come the one that shall have dominion. And you know who that is? Jesus. So Balaam sees the Lord coming, even as he's prophesying, as he's talking about the Israelites. So Balak has a bad day, and he doesn't get his curse. And Israel goes on their way, and eventually they make it to the promised land, and we'll talk about that next time. But for now, we already are having a prelude. This is thousands of years before Jesus is born. But Balaam, who isn't even of the covenant, he has a vision. He's told to curse Israel, and instead he blesses them, and he sees that out of the children of Israel will come the Messiah who will save us all. And we hear that again. A star shall rise out of Jacob, and a scepter out of Israel. So don't forget, look forward to Christmas, not just because of presents, but because the Lord is coming to us. And for now, stand up, go to the back, and let's take communion together.